Hello, my name is Jeff Cox, and I am the Reservation Director here at Ransburg Scout Reservation. And welcome to what is presumably your first screencast, given that the title or subject matter of this screencast is to demonstrate how to create an account at the new Ransburg Scout Reservation online portal. So, let me just get started with this is the home page. So if that's not where you're at, you need to get to this point, and you can do that by going to www.ransburgbsa.org. Once there, you should default to this page, but it is the home page, and if you can click on here to be certain. All right, from here you need to click on the sign in button in the right hand corner up here. You click on that and you will see a new sign in dialog box. In this box, this is where you will typically sign in with your created account. But since I'm assuming you don't already have an account, what we're going to do instead is go down here and click on Create Account. Note, however, there's also this button here, or link, for retrieving a password that you forget. And if you're like me, that means this particular link will be real important for you in the future. All right, so let's go ahead and click on the Create Account link. It gives us a new dialog called Create Account. Here we will need to enter in our first name, and I'm just going to create an account for my son Tristan. Start with his first name, which is Tristan, his middle name, which is King, and his last name, which is my name, of course, Cox. And we will create a screen name of Tris, which is the nickname his mother seems to have given him. So, the email address is Tristan King Cox at gmail.com. Now it's important that this email address be something that you can actually access and you can use. We certainly have no intention of sending you spam or anything of that nature, so feel comfortable in using an email address that you normally would use. But it's important that it is at least a usable email address, because in the next step you're going to receive an email with the password to log in. Okay, so birthday, his birthday is February, oops, screen changed a little bit, February 25th, 2002, of course male, and I'm going to type in 8136 for the text verification code. Okay, one thing I want to point out that I forgot to when we started is that I'm using a resolution of 1280 by 1024 for this demonstration. So your screen may look a little different if you are using a different resolution, but I'm using a 1280 by 1024 resolution, which the entire website is built with a 1024 by 768 resolution minimum, but it seems that most people are probably using something between 1280 by 1024 and 1600 by 1200. All right, so once we have all this information entered in, we simply click on Save, and if all goes well, we will see a message across the top here that says, "Thank you for creating an account. Your password has been sent to the email that we entered in," and we need to check our inbox as well as the spam folders, because sometimes our spam correction or our spam detection algorithms aren't nearly as ideal as we'd like them to be. So I'm going to go up here into this tab where I already have Tristan's email account opened up, and I'm going to look for whether or not we've got an email yet. And look, we did. We received an email from ransburg.org. Here and in this email, we'll have the important information. Dear Tristan King Cox, welcome. You recently created an account at www.ransburgbsa.org. Your password is this crazy number that I hope no one tries to actually remember and type in. What you should do is select this with your mouse. You can either right-click and copy, or if you're on a Windows machine, you can hold down the Control key and hold C, or hold down the Control key and click C. On a Macintosh computer, you hold down the Apple key and click C. Either one of them or either of those three ways should be sufficient in copying the password. Then we'll go back to the login portal, and I'm going to go ahead and just return to the full page so that you see what it looks like. You should have this if you're following along and doing this while you're creating your account. It leaves you at the sign-in box, and you can now sign in. Notice that this looks very similar. In fact, the only difference between this box and the box when we originally clicked on the sign-in link up here is that it now has this message. Essentially what has happened is when we created the account and the email was sent, the portal sent us back to this dialog, which is the sign-in dialog, which you'll get real familiar with. But I would like to return to the full regular page and just start from the sign-in so that you see what it looks like if you were returning after having already created your account. So we come back, we see this, notice that it defaults to the email address that I generally use to log in, but instead we're going to use Tristan's email because it's the account we just created. We're going to paste in, and you can either right click and paste, you can hit Control V if you're on a Windows machine, or you can hit Apple V if you happen to be on a Macintosh based machine. If you happen to be on a Linux machine, I'm going to assume you know what you're doing. So click sign in, and then it's going to ask you for some sort of a reminder query. So for Tristan, we're going to choose his father's middle name, pretty easy for me to answer, which is Alan. This is typical. If you've used online applications or online websites in the past, then you'll know what this is all about. But this is a mechanism by which you can retrieve your password. So earlier I talked about that link regarding forgetting your password. If you've forgotten your password, you click on that link, it's going to ask you this question. So right now you have the opportunity to choose what that question will be. So I would never choose what's my first teacher's name, because I don't have a clue. I mean, obviously, I couldn't remember my password. How am I going to remember my first teacher's name? But maybe you can. So you can also create your own question and just type something in. You know, what is my dog's name? And then just something you think you can remember. But again, we're just going to use father's middle name, type in Alan, click save, and we find ourselves back of the portal and logged in. So before I finish off this screencast, I would just like to point out a couple things. One, there are now some new things to click on across the top. Up here in the top, you will find a Manage button. If you have had the ability to edit these pages, you could click the edit controls on or off, and then also this Go To button. Right now, there is nothing there because Tristan is not part of any communities in the Ransburg portal. If he had been, for example, the Adult Leader community, then there would be a link here to go to the Adult Leader community web pages. And then here is where we can click on sign out. So a couple things. We can click on your username or your name up here, and this will take us to specifically the account information about you. And I'll save for another screencast how to do things in here, but just as a teaser, one of the things that you will want to do if you are, for example, an adult leader is go to custom fields down here and enter in the troop identification key that you received in your pre-camp packet. All right. The last thing I want to show you how to do is to sign out, and you just click on this link here and you will be signed out. I certainly hope this helps you in your ability to create an account at the Ransburg online portal. If you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to go down here and click on this link here and send us an email. We'll do our best to reply. That's generally much better, especially for the portal type things, than calling this phone number down here. In fact, right now, I should say, instead of right now, I should say that prior to May 15th, there's generally no one to answer that number. All right, thank you, and look forward to seeing you here at camp.